BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm your Thursday guy for BodyBags, and this week it's 80s horror. And the movie I picked was Evil Laugh. Evil Laugh. And I was thinking, in the very beginning, why is this movie called Evil Laugh? By the time the movie was over, it made sense. I'll give you the premise. It's Friday the 13th, except instead of a camp, it's this house that this group of kids. Actually, it's quite literally Friday the 13th. Because Friday the 13th, there's the kids that are going to the camp so that, they're going to be counselors there and they're going to start up the camp kind of thing. And, obviously that doesn't work out because, right, they all die, basically. This is a bunch of kids that get a house because they're going to set it up because it's going to be a, foster home or something like that. I forget. Something like that. It's quite literally verbatim Friday the 13th, with the only difference I would say being the very ending of the movie, and then of course some small details and whatnot. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of like this movie. I felt, I was thinking in the first half that this is not the epitome, but quite literally the epitome of slasher movies in the 80s. We have your group of kids, and they're all horned up, right? And they all want to go and bang each other or whatever. And then there's a serial killer, and he's killing all of them except for the virgin or the final girl or whatever, right? Something such. This was that, except it felt a tad bit more realistic, I guess. It's just that some of the dialogue was kind of off with it, it sounded cheesy or weirdly put, but when it was all said and done, I was I could totally see, people talking and whatnot like this and whatnot. So, maybe it's cheesy, maybe it's this or that, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Maybe not the best thing ever, but it, I guess my only problem is it's quite literally verbatim Friday the 13th, except for the very ending, which I really liked the very ending. I'm gonna spoil a bit. So, if you don't want to, whatever, right? It's on TUBI. Go check it out. I think it's worth the watch. But, anyway, I'm going to keep going now. So, the storyline is that 10 years prior, the place was a foster home or whatever. And there's this guy, one of the guys there that was watching the kids and whatnot, was falsely blamed by the kids that, oh, he molested us or whatever. And so he had to go to court. That guy's dad, his name is Martin, okay? His dad kills himself before it comes out that, oh yeah, Martin's actually, good. Martin goes a little bit crazy and then he kills all the kids there. And then he burns down the place. His body was never found. Oh, kind of thing. 10 years later, this group of kids, they go get this place, basically, and they're gonna try to shape it up so that they could go and make it a foster home again. And the serial killer, I'm gonna spoil it. So if you don't want to know, go watch the movie. If you don't care, I guess you could keep going. The serial killer was Martin's mom, who was oh, the children were mean to him. Ah. Yeah, basically, it's Friday the 13th. In Friday the 13th, the first one, you find out, oh, it's Jason's mom. Jason was a boy that drowned some time ago, and Jason's mom is pissed at everyone, so she's gonna kill all the counselors because they didn't watch him when, blah, 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 right? It's that, but different. And it's oh yeah, it's the same kind of thing. I thought it was fine, but it was definitely cheesy at times. The thing that I really liked, and I thought was very interesting, is that in the very end, you got two survivors. You got the geek kind of character, and the final girl. And I guess not so final girl, but she's basically the final girl until you realize the geek's still alive. The geek actually saves the day, I think. And so it's 2 weeks later after that, The girl is in her apartment or whatever. The radio station's talking about what happened 2 weeks prior, the murders, and kind of trivializing it and whatnot. It was like, oh, that's kind of screwed up. And she hears someone knock on the door or whatever. She opens it up, and oh no, it's the killer! Yeah, ring around the rosy until you're in a corner. And then he goes and stabs. It's a fake knife, and it's the geek. He takes the mask off. It's like, ha, guy, ha, ha. And pretty good joke. He was like a jokester until he was a jokester the whole movie until until he started getting paranoid because he saw what they couldn't see, right? He was like, we're in a horror movie, and they're like, no, we're not. It's like, yeah, you are. Sorry, guy. That's why he's still alive. Well, that's why he's still alive until the very ending, because in the very ending, he pulls the ultimate prank on her, and she just loses it. She sees a pair of scissors, picks it up, and starts starts walking towards them, and then it fades to black, and you hear, no, what are you doing? Real credits kind of thing, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty good. I thought that was a pretty good ending, mainly because I like I think it was Halloween 4, how that ended, and it's like, oh wow, that's pretty good. I hope they do something with that. Never did, right? Or it's like when you kind of see the very ending of the first Halloween of the trilogy, where it's like it shows them all in the back of the truck, and you pan to the knife, like, ooh, what is this gonna mean? You start thinking like, oh, this is gonna be interesting, and then nothing happens from it. That was very interesting, except it kind of happened, but I don't know or think there's a sequel, so I don't know, how it continues or whatever. But my guess is if it did continue, it probably would have ended up like Sleepaway Camp, probably. Because, all those movies are kind of similar to one degree or another, kind of. So, should you watch it? I say why not? You should check it out one time, right? My only real problem with the movie, honestly, is just, some of the characters were really bummish, but, when the movie's all said and done, it, kind of makes sense. I did like, because here's something I like to think about and whatnot. When you're born in America, you're like, your cards are, wherever you're born in the world, right? Your cards are like, you play the cards you're given kind of thing. And in America, that tends to be more on the better side of things, rather than the poor sides. And it shouldn't really matter which is which, but it's the fact of the matter is that those who live off the silver spoon tend to outlast those, or not outlast, but like tend to have better opportunities than those who rise up through the mud and whatnot. And it's like the movie kind of had a scene where they talked about that. There was like 2 characters, and they're both doctors, and one of the doctors had like a super easy way of getting to this really great hospital, and the other one can't get to that hospital because the first one has a rich dad, and the second one is making on his own, right? And so it's like, yeah, that kind of sucks. That's a thing, but it makes sense. I understand. I would say the only reason why that would be like a very big problem is if the one that's using the richness to get there, if he was doing it in vain, kind of thing. Because I feel like if you have a lot of money and you have a lot of whatever, you should do something with that. And if you go out and if you had like $100,000 and went to, I don't know, you had all the money, right? Your dad could pay for anything. You went to the biggest colleges out there, Harvard or whatever, and you learn nothing, or you learn something but don't do anything with that afterward. That was in vain. Biggest waste of time. You could have fed a lot of homeless people, kind of thing. You suck. Like, dude, I like free market capitalism. I like the free market. Capitalism plays a bit in that. I love that because It gives more of choice. In socialism, there's not really that much choice. In capitalism, you have a choice, and I see a situation where everyone's rich, and if there's someone that's not, everyone can help out that person, right? So, like, charities and stuff like that, I'm a big fan of, and whenever they're frauds, whenever those are in vain, that's when it, like, really sucks. Or, like, when there's, like, a big corporation that's, like, just a biat, right? Like, Disney or whatever. Like, screw them. I would like Disney a lot more if they put, what's it called? Something evil, something wicked this way comes. If they put that on Disney Plus, I'd be fine because I could watch it then. But I can't. It's not there. Come on. Disney, you made that movie like 40, 50 years ago. Put it out there. Whatever. And it's just one of those movies I gotta go find somewhere, right? Anyway. Yeah. So the scene, yeah, I thought that was a pretty good scene. And I thought it was something interesting because that's the thing. And I would say it wouldn't really be a problem unless, it was in vain. But it's always a great story whenever the underdog or the one that goes through the mud gets to the top of the mountain. That's always a nice story because then that tends not to be in vain. Although, I suppose that could be in vain, right? You fight so hard, so much for nothing, basically. And it's like, what are you doing? Literally could have done something else that would have technically been better than that, but, you know, whatever. I'm Sam. I'm your Thursday guy for BodyBags. This week was 80s horror, or something like that. And I did, Evil Laugh. Because the killer, almost every single time he killed, or, well, I guess she killed someone, always, like, laughed super crazily. And I guess if I had to rate this movie right now, I'd probably give it something like a, probably a, I don't know, a 7 out of 10. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's cheesy. It was a good time. And I think you would too. It's on TUBI. So you could watch it for free. Yeah. But yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.